So this video is about the first egregious ruling of the hearing officer Angela Gupta in our first due process complaint. So her first egregious ruling or a set of rulings prevented us from obtaining Blue Valley's internal emails about us and our children. So early on in the proceeding in June, we requested Blue Valley to disclose its internal emails about us and about our children. Blue Valley objected to this disclosure first by saying that it cost them too much attorney time to sift our emails out of internal emails because we just sent too many emails to school staff. And when they want to search for internal emails, too much of our emails show up. And as all school districts do at that stage, Blue Valley accused us of being hostile against the school staff and harassing them by sending them too many uncivil emails. So that's most of the time the only accusation a school can possibly make against parents, and they almost always make this accusation. After a little while, Blue Valley's lawyers backtracked this initial argument about the email search and actually did sift out all our emails and disclose them to us. So they disclosed our own emails to us. We already have our emails. We never asked them to produce our emails. We asked for their internal emails about us and about our children. So uh, it's obvious they were digging up dirt on us, hoping to find something in our emails that they can use against us. But they couldn't find a single piece of evidence that showed that we threatened, harassed school staff in any shape or form. So they wanted our email exchanges with our children's previous school. So they couldn't find anything in the emails that we sent to Blue Valley in 2 years, between 2022 and 2024. So they tried to find something in the emails that we sent before we moved to Kansas, before 2022. So they had the hearing officer to issue a subpoena for them to obtain our email exchanges with our children's previous school. The school they attended before Blue Valley. So we didn't challenge the subpoena. So my wife didn't like it, and obviously their subpoena wasn't well intentioned. But I didn't want to look like we had something to hide. So we ended up not objecting to the subpoena, and Blue Valley ended up subpoenaing all, not all, but our email exchanges with our children's previous school. But they got nowhere. So they didn't get anything that they could use against us. So after all the efforts, they didn't have a single piece of objective evidence to support their argument that we were hostile to their staff members. And we still want Blue Valley's internal emails about us and about our children, but the hearing officer is siding with Blue Valley. But this time, they have a different story. So now they say the email search takes up too much attorney time because of FERPA, the Family Education Rights and Privacy Act. So to comply with these Student Privacy Act, they need to go over every email and make sure they don't disclose another student's private information to us. So their attorneys need to check every single email and make sure the email doesn't contain any information about another student before they disclose it to us. And if the email contains another student's information, they have to redact that information from the email. So that just the whole process takes up too much attorney time, and of course, it costs them too much money. And the hearing officer is siding with them, finds this reasonable, but they can't just go without disclosing any emails. They have to disclose something, otherwise they will look too bad. So But obviously, there are things that lots of things they don't want to disclose. So this internal email dispute dragged from June till September, and the hearing officer kept on asking us to narrow down the scope of our email production request. So limiting the email search to fewer and fewer staff members, to shorter and shorter time frames, and to fewer and fewer search terms. Uh, so we have to narrow down the scope by topic, by people, by subject, by time frame, time period. So even though we comply with hearing officer's orders regarding these restrictions, Blue Valley still didn't accept all the search terms we provided uh, in September. So they ended up disclosing all the emails that they wanted to disclose. And so, like I said, we asked them to disclose emails in June, and they finally disclosed a few emails in October. So you might say, why? What was that fight for? Why are they important anyway? Internal emails. So in our case, we knew it was important because we knew Blue Valley had been targeting us and our children. And if a school is targeting you and your children, that will be reflected in their internal emails. The same happens to corporations. When you get in their radar, when the corporations start seeing you as a liability, as a threat, they start targeting you and they try to nudge you out of the company. You do something to get in their radar, get their attention, whatever it is. Something happens, somebody reports, or you report, or you file a complaint. But after that, they start targeting you. And we knew that, and the internal emails would reflect that. Um, and this is nothing extraordinary. This is not unusual. So I will now read out a part of the ruling of a previous Kansas State Department of Education due process hearing. So this is the ruling decision from a previous hearing. Discovery in this case revealed numerous internal emails exchanged by district personnel at two different schools, mocking and showing hostility to K and complainants. The hearing officer finds this hostility and mocking to be quite troubling, considering that these exchanges were about a disabled child desperately in need of help. The hearing officer also notes that it's worth remembering the district's schemes to exit K from the district behind the scenes. So basically, the school district in this case was Wichita. So the district staff in two different schools over a number of years obviously despised the student, saw him as a liability, and despised his parents as well. And they developed schemes to kick the family out of the district. And all of that surfaced in their internal emails. And we actually consulted a school's IT expert about this, a school in Missouri. And he said he receives requests to produce internal emails about students all the time. He says in the worst case scenario, it takes 2 days. In the worst case scenario, and when the student has a long history of behavior issues, and there are also incidents, reports, and crises, and the time frame is long. So only 2 days. One guy, one IT expert. So you don't need attorneys. So that's a part of his job. IT expert, school's IT expert's job. And when other students are involved in the email, the IT expert redacts their names. So not the attorney, but the IT expert himself. And so there's nothing unusual for a school to disclose its internal emails in a due process hearing or in a lawsuit. But Blue Valley gaslighted us by making it look like we imposed undue burden on them and harassed them by asking too much, asking them to produce internal emails about our children. We don't ask for their internal emails about other children, just about our children and us. And but They gaslight us, make our request look like undue burden, and the hearing officer sided with them. Still, we received a few emails, Blue Val disclosed, and they were enlightening. For example, in an email, our child's third grade teacher, Kristen Kellerman, misrepresents our child's frequent bathroom breaks as disruptive behavior at the time. So our child at that time would go to the bathroom every half an hour. Yeah, it was like that at home, or like when we were outside, because he had a medical condition at that time, and that was the only time in his life when he had that medical condition, just for a few months. He had this condition, and uh, Kristen Kellerman, his teacher, made it out to be a behavior issue. She made it out to be disruptive behavior, uh, and we found that out because we saw the email she sent to the principal. But we had no idea before we saw the email. Before we had no idea she misrepresented his medical condition as a behavior issue. So another enlightening email disclosure was an email conversation among three teachers who participated in our child's psychoeducational evaluation. So it was an email chain. In that email chain, one teacher admits that she didn't know our child uh, well, and three teachers decide to do our child's evaluation together. Uh, so you don't even fill out a customer satisfaction survey together with someone, and yet three teachers get together to fill out a scientifically validated instrument which is subject to copyrights. So the school pays for these instruments to maintain the facade of objective and scientific student evaluations. But behind that facade, there are actually teachers who don't know and who don't care about their students. So I hope after watching this video, you won't fall for a school's facade and you won't let the school's gaslighting get you down. Just because they have the power doesn't mean they have the right.